The Yankees, Celtics, Packers, Canadians, and the 48 dynasties in sports. Jimmie Johnson looks to continue his historic run when the NASCAR Sprint Cup season wraps in Homestead.
When an athlete wins so much for so long, folks always take such a strong stance. Those who watch him and those who compete against him, they either really love him or really despise him. But when the level of greatness achieved becomes so historic, so undeniable, it no longer matters where we stand. It only matters where he stands. And that's in a very exclusive place. Not just among the greatest ever, but perhaps the greatest ever.
NASCAR Now is presented by 5-Hour Energy.
Welcome inside the NASCAR Now post-chase edition. Chris Cotter along with Ricky Craven. Ricky, you are a man who knows what it's all about, racing at the highest levels in NASCAR. So you know how difficult it is to win one championship. How about 6?
Oh, actually, I don't. You know, I empty the tank to try and win in Sprint Cup, and I did it a couple times. Jimmie Johnson, he makes it look easy. I don't like that. It's not easy, you know? But that's the only thing about Jimmie Johnson I don't like. I admire his determination, his commitment, his focus, and we saw that on display today.
We sure did. All he had to do was finish in 23rd place as the season wrapped up at Homestead, and he would clinch his 6th Sprint Cup championship. Kevin Harvick starting in 6th. Matt Kenseth on the pole. Those were the only 2 drivers who could catch him. Lap 33, Jimmie very strong. Passes both Kyle Busch and Kurt Busch on the bottom up to 2nd place.
In control, doesn't seem to be taking a lot of risk. Gets as far away from the cars he's passing as he can. Gives himself a margin of error on corner exit, doing everything right.
It is South Florida. Jimmie approaching his pit stall, fighting the sun.
On, if that's what you're saying. Yes, he was. He was using it. Yes, step forward. I'm on the other side of it. I couldn't see it. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not sure it was on.
So seeing's important, huh?
That looks brutal right there in South Florida.
A nice clean windshield's worth about 10 miles per hour.
Lap 95 on the restart. Kenseth races Kyle Busch for the lead into turn 3, and Kenseth takes the lead. He was dominant early on here.
And Kenseth wins the pole, done everything he needed to do in terms of making a run at this championship. But Jimmie Johnson taking care of business. Not real good on restarts. Get a bump from Paul Menard. How about Kevin Harvick? He's still in the battle.
Struggling early, though. His car just could not get it right. Comes into pit early, hoping to get an out-of-sequence pit stop and might be able to help him down the road. Lap 140 battle for the lead. Dale Jr. gets a run on Kenseth. He had a rocket ship in this race.
Yeah, he did. You saw Matt Kenseth there really get in trouble in the middle corner. Needed a break by Danica Patrick and got it. But Matt regroups, makes a charge back to the lead.
That's lap 158 on that restart. Kenseth got the lead back. Johnson racing in mid-pack. Now 167 here. Denny Hamlin passes Kenseth on the outside. He takes the lead. He had a strong finish.
Denny Hamlin won in every season he's been. Full season in Cup, that's 7. Wait until the last minute to try and do it this year.
Johnson battling Kenseth for 4th place. We go to lap 189. Caution out for debris, and this is when things get a little nervous here.
Yeah, there are some real challenges in this sport, none more so than restarts, because as you see, when a driver spins in front, kind of bottles up the competition, Jimmie there gets bounced around. Not pretty, but he survives it. Look at this save. I mean, he had his hands full. There were 3 or 4 times there where he could have spun. Had he spun, well,
look at his hands here on the steering wheel.
Big save, Chris, big save twice. And along the way, you got cars coming left, you got cars going to the right.
Oh, my goodness is right. That's their white knuckler moment right there. Both Chackenhouse and Jason Ratcliffe anxious. Johnson would get that left front fixed up in the pits, but you know at that point, you had to be wondering, is it going to be cutting on the tire? Is it going to be rubbing?
That's right. Crew did a great job. You know, they didn't panic, maintained composure. Jimmie Johnson comes battling back, but it wasn't perfect. Kyle Larson here taking a little nervous defensive driving. Jimmie Johnson trying to go into Greg Biffle. Greg Biffle and Jimmie Johnson roughed one another up a little bit at Martinsville, and drivers never forget Nothing easy here the rest of the year. And Jimmie Johnson will throw around Greg Biffle.
All right, 44 to go here. Brad Keselowski and Denny Hamlin battling for the lead. What a tough year it's been for Hamlin. Finishing it off the right way at Homestead. Dale Jr., though, beating him on the outside.
Could have been a three-car wreck. They all cooperated. Dale Jr. takes the high lane. How about Paul Menard with some trouble here? A fire under the right rear, and when the car stops, it explodes.
That is a dangerous situation right there.
Never seen anything like it, Chris.
What do you do in that situation?
Listen, I've seen about everything there is in this sport, but I can't give you any analysis on this.
There's the carnage. No one was injured, thankfully, in that incident. 28 to go, restart. Again, nervous moment. Kenseth holds third position. Jimmie Johnson remains in the middle of the pack. It's not where you really want to be in this situation, is it?
You're exactly right. That's a hard way to do business, particularly when you're trying to win a sixth title. Matt Kenseth hasn't given up hopes of winning the race. Dale Earnhardt Jr. making a strong run here at the end.
Johnson making a strong run as well, though. Getting out from that middle of the pack, passing both Jeff Gordon and Kyle Busch for 8th. We go to 11 to go. Dale Jr., again, another run on Kenseth for 2nd.
Yeah, carries a ton of speed into the corner, a little bit too much. Maybe moves up a little quickly, gets crossed up. Matt goes back underneath the crossover, we call it. Final lap. How about the guy that needed a win to keep that string of a win every season alive?
Got it. Denny Hamlin takes the checkered flag. Kenseth finishes in 2nd. Johnson safely home in 9th. Jimmie Johnson does what he has to do, stays out of trouble, and wins championship number 6. Hamlin celebrating, like you said, a rough year for him. Ends on a very positive note. But there's the 48, as we've seen so many times before, raising the Sprint Cup. It's a non-chaser spoiling the party at least a little bit. Denny Hamlin picks up his first win of the year. He's now won, as you said, Ricky, in all 8 of his full Sprint Cup seasons. His JGR teammate Matt Kenseth leads the most laps, finishes 2nd, but it wasn't nearly enough. Jimmie Johnson came home 9th to win his 6th championship. Here he is afterward, emotional and thankful.
Oh, wow, I don't even know where to start. I am lost for words, but just so proud and so thankful for this opportunity at Hendrick Motorsports. Thankful that Jeff Gordon and Rick Hendrick gave me this opportunity back in 2002. Thankful that Lowe's came on board. I want to say hi to all the employee owners that are watching, everybody back at Hendrick Motorsports and all the departments. This sport's about people, and our people at Hendrick Motorsports, especially on this 48 car, rose up and got the job done this year. And I am so thankful to drive for this race team and so honored and so excited to have the 6-pack.
Man, what a great day. I just can't thank everybody at Hendrick Motorsports enough. A lot of effort went into the performance of this 48 car this season. Everybody on the 48 team has dug in really deep. We've had a whole lot of new players on our team this year, from engineers to mechanics to pit crew members. And, everybody played a very important role into what it was we needed to do this year.
We're like a big family, and these guys work hard. All of the teams work together. See that 48 banner up in the stands. Hey, guys. And I never thought I'd win one of these things, let alone 11 of them. But it's all about these guys, and I'm so proud of them. And, their record kind of speaks for themselves.
Well, that's just a taste right there. We're going to hear more from Jimmie, Chad, and Rick a little bit later on in the show. Jimmie Johnson's 6th title puts him just one behind both Richard Petty and Dale Earnhardt for the most in Cup Series history. But Johnson got to his 6th in fewer full seasons, meaning seasons where he ran at least half of the races than both Petty and Earnhardt. Petty won his 7th title in his 19th season. Earnhardt did it in his 16th season. Next year will be Johnson's 13th year. Well, Ricky, you know the old saying, prevent defense only prevents you from winning.
Right, oftentimes.
What's the strategy for the 48 going into this final race when they don't want to get, they don't have to win, but they don't want to get in trouble either?
Jimmie Johnson's at his best, I think, in closing out races. He's a strong finisher. He knows, most importantly, how to do it without putting himself in harm's way. Having said that, it's never perfect, and he nearly got in that situation on a restart where he had a little damage. But I think that Jimmie's best approach is to race as though his life depends on it. Mm-hmm. And I saw that today. Not to the point where he was taking unnecessary risk, but listen, he was within a few degrees of the steering wheel of spinning in front of the field. And we're probably having a different conversation if he does. There's no moment in the race where Jimmie is without focus, without that concentration, without that undeniable will and vision to think ahead and anticipate. And I think that's part of what got him through this race today. He's just, he sort of has that sixth sense on how the race is going to unfold, and then he executes. And he makes it look easy, and I can tell you, 25 years behind the wheel, it's not easy.
Well, that's, you and I were watching the race, and at that moment, when he had the damage on the left front, you and I were talking, and what did you tell me as you were watching the race?
Well, when he had that situation, I thought, the average driver would fold, would fade. Jimmie took a few laps to evaluate, feel whatever it was that was giving him problems. There was some smoke, and then he regained his composure and started marching forward. He takes risk that the ordinary driver wouldn't take, but he doesn't. I don't think he evaluates it as risk. I think there's a certain composure to him that you can't acquire. It comes natural, and again, it's a little bit frustrating for someone that's tried to have that kind of success, but he makes it look easy.
That's what separates the six-time champions from the rest of us out here. We're going to hear much more from that six-time champion, the entire crew, Jimmie, Chad, as well as Rick Hendrick coming up later in the show. And Matt Kenseth had such a strong year, just could not hold off the 48 in the end. We'll look back at a year full of victory lane celebrations for the 20 next.
I'm Marty Smith. Coming up on the post-championship edition of NASCAR Now, I'll sit down with champion Jimmie Johnson to discuss his historic career and his latest historic accomplishment.
Presented by 5-Hour Energy. Try the new sour apple flavored extra strength 5-Hour Energy shots in the camouflage bottle.
The two drivers who had a shot to catch Jimmie at the start of the day gave it a shot. Matt Kenseth started from the pole, led the most laps. Ricky dominated early. What did you make of his day?
He emptied the tank, and here on the restart, you see him spin the tires, stacks up the crowd behind him, survives it. He led the most laps today, Chris. He did about everything he could do but win the race.
Finished second in the points. Gave it a shot, just came up a little bit short. Here he is afterward with Marty Smith.
Here with Matt Kenseth, finishes second here at Homestead on Sunday evening and second in the points championship. He didn't get it done, but my goodness, what a year. How do you describe this?
Yeah, what a year and what a night. I mean, we were so dominant early, and we'd go up through traffic pretty good, and, we got off there a little bit at the end, and I was kind of reluctant to get where I needed to in 3 and 4 and get the right lane, and didn't find it until 5 or 6 to go, and Denny was just gone by then. So, yeah, it's hard to describe this season. I mean, how could it really be any better? I mean, yeah, we came up short of the championship, but gosh, we sure led a lot of laps, dominated a lot of races. We're fortunate enough to win a few of them that we did dominate, and came up short in the points, but overall, it was a spectacular year.
When you look at the guy that beat you tonight, what do you see?
Well, a lot of words come to mind, but I mean, just so dominant, and I've said this the last 4 or 5 of them that he's won, that I just, they're just the best, so, I've said all the way through this, if you want to be the man, you got to beat the man, and, I couldn't beat the man. We tried, but I couldn't, so they're just, they're just obviously really good. I mean, they've just been dominant ever since they got together.
Going into the offseason, Joe Gibbs Racing runs 1-2. You said to me just a moment ago how big this is for Denny Hamlin and for the organization. How does this bolster you guys as you now look forward to 14?
Well, I think confidence is always big. Momentum is always big. We had a real good weekend here, and I honestly couldn't be much happier for Denny. I know it's just been a struggle this year and getting hurt and being out of the car. And even though he never says it publicly, I know what it's like to kind of be in a slump, and everything runs through your mind from doubting yourself to your team to your equipment to your whatever. And for them to put that together and win this race, in my opinion, is huge. I think that'll be a great confidence booster for everybody.
Came to Joe Gibbs Racing for the opportunity to win races in a championship. 7 wins, second in the points. Not a bad run, man.
Thank you, gentlemen. Well, Kenseth may have come up short in his attempt to win a second career Sprint Cup championship, but his first year with Joe Gibbs Racing, definitely a success. He set career highs in wins, laps led, and average starting position, and his 12 top 5 finishes were 1 more than he had in 2003 when he won the championship. How about Kevin Harvick? Second best average finish of 7.9 at Homestead among drivers with multiple starts. So he loved this track. Didn't quite have the car today, though, Ricky, did he?
Kevin Harvick's a racer. He didn't have the car today. He's had the car this year, and when he has, he's capitalized on it. Today, well, he soldiered on, in the end, finishes 10th and finishes 3rd in the standings.
At one point in time during the day, he said on his radio, it felt like he was popping wheelies out there. And never a good thing when your car is handling like that.
I can't really translate to what that means, but I know it's not good.
It's not good. Here's the driver of the 29 afterward.
Yeah, we just weren't very good. Just couldn't turn like we needed to, and we had one set of tires that I don't know what was wrong with, but just like always, these guys on our Budweiser Chevy kept after it, and we were able to salvage something out of the night. And obviously, it's not what we wanted, but came back and we're way better at the end than what we were at the beginning. So it's what we've done all year, and you know, I'm just proud of everybody and thank them for everything that they've done. I'm happy with everything that we've been able to accomplish as a group. We had a great year, knowing what the circumstances were. And we've won a lot of races, a lot of the marquee races. We've won nationwide championships as you know, as owners in the Truck Series and nationwide cars. We were customers of the engine shop, and so I mean, there's just you know, there's a lot that's happened with everything and everybody at RCR, and really proud about my past and everybody who's been involved in it, and really excited about my future.
Rick, let's talk about these two drivers and start with Kenseth. 7 wins on the year, including a couple of tracks where he's historically struggled, so he has to think positively about that. Given the mindset, though, right now, crushing disappointment, or are they looking back on the season with positive thoughts?
Well, there's no question when you come this close to a title and you come up short, it's going to be disappointing. But he wakes up tomorrow, he reflects on the season. He's 41 years old. He was hired by Joe Gibbs Racing. Some might have suggested his best years were behind him. You know, he is remarkable in that he has longevity. He goes about his business quietly, but he lays down some great numbers. 7 wins, best season he's ever had, Chris. And there's so many other owners that have to be looking at this and saying, I could have hired him. I could have had Matt Kenseth. And what you're going to get with Matt is you're going to get 2 or 3 more good shots at a title. That's what Joe Gibbs, J.D. Gibbs have bought into, and they sure are getting rewarded for it.
You know, you talk about Harvick then as well. Final year with Richard Childress, now moving on to Stewart-Haas Racing. It's going to be a transitionary offseason for him and a transitionary year next year.
He is an excellent race car driver. He won a nationwide championship. He's battled for a Sprint Cup championship several years. And here's what you get with Kevin Harvick, a very loyal driver, a driver that's dedicated to an organization. He stepped into the Richard Childress ride under the most difficult of circumstances. We lost a legend, Dale Earnhardt, at Daytona. The next week, Kevin Harvick's in the car. That's not a situation that most people would envy. Kevin Harvick took it as squarely as you could and handled it like a champion. And I admire how he's handled the season. Not perfect. He lost his cool a few times, but I believe that he redeemed himself on the racetrack. And, you know, he closes out a relationship with Richard Childress Racing as well as you can with a 3rd place finish in the standings. Came up a little short, but nothing to be disappointed with.
Yeah, with all the uncertainty at the beginning of the year, you got to tip your cap for the type of year that they had. All right, when we come back, we'll let you hear from Chad Knaus. He's a winner once again, and you know this team had some practice celebrating championships, and they did it in style on Sunday.
In NASCAR, there's nothing a fan, team, or driver wants more than to be first. First on the leaderboard, first out of the pits, first to the checkered flag. In the nation, being first is just as important. At Nationwide Insurance, we put members first because we don't have shareholders. It's why the Earnhardt family has trusted Nationwide for more than 35 years.
Nationwide is on your side.
We depend on our cars every day. Just get in and go from point A to point B, even when we're not exactly sure where point B is. That's why we rely on Pep Boys. With a nationwide network of ASE-certified technicians, they keep everything performing like new. Because sometimes the point B you can't find is the one that matters most. Life is full of point Bs. Trust the boys to get you there.
This is the age of knowing what you're made of. Why let erectile dysfunction get in your way? Talk to your doctor about Viagra. Ask if your heart is healthy enough for sex. Do not take Viagra if you take nitrates for chest pain. It may cause an unsafe drop in blood pressure. Side effects include headache, flushing, upset stomach, and abnormal vision. To avoid long-term injury, seek immediate medical help for an erection lasting more than 4 hours. Stop taking Viagra and call your doctor right away if you experience a sudden decrease or loss in vision or hearing. This is the age of taking action. Viagra. Talk to your doctor.
What the? There's another one. I'm calling it.
Love dial. Who's ready to fall in love?
Ricky?
No. Definitely not Ricky.
That was close.
ESPN, your NBA destination for games Wednesdays and Fridays.
Sounds like you've been doing a lot of cooking.
I was inspired to do 30 nights of all different kinds of food, like theme nights. You know, you have your Christmas and Arbor Day, Flag Day.
I heard there was a movie theme night.
Hamlet and eggs.
Sam Shepherd's pie.
I just go on demand, and I can go and pick whatever show I want, and I get ideas, I get inspired, and it's right there. It's fun for me to make, and it is fun for them to eat.
You can take your vehicle to one of our preferred shops.
This is called steering, when an insurance company suggests where to take your car to get repaired.
Oftentimes selecting repair shops that are willing to accept less.
This can lead to cutting corners in the use of low-quality replacement parts, which can put you and your family's safety at risk.
No matter where your insurance company suggests you take your car,
Remember, it's your car, your choice. Choose from the best. Your life may depend on it.
Welcome back to NASCAR Now, presented by 5 Hour Energy.
The relationship we have and the connection we have as a team, everybody in this garage area works really, really hard. So, I mean, yeah, we put in a lot of hours, but there's something special about the group we have and how we can make a car go faster. I really don't know how it happens, but I'm excited it does and happy it does.
Chad Knaus is just the second crew chief to win at least 6 Cup Series championships, joining Dale Inman, who won 8. While all of Knaus's titles have come with Johnson, Inman won 2 with 2 drivers, 7 with Richard Petty, and 1 with Terry Labonte. Time to check the view from the pit box, and it must have been pretty good from Chad Knaus's view, and he joins us right now. Chad, congratulations on the championship. What was the biggest challenge for your team today?
You know, honestly, just staying calm. Obviously, there's a lot of emotion. There's a lot of stress involved when you're going out to battle for a championship and a race win. You know, as good as what the Lowe's Chevrolet was running today. So just managing those emotions throughout our pit stops, our pit calls, and obviously we had that one bad restart there and went from, I think it was 6 all the way back to 27. So that was a bit of a challenge in itself.
Yeah, you knew you were going to have at least one white knuckler moment, and that was probably it for the race. Yeah. What was going through your mind in terms of trying to look at the car and then the communication between Jimmie at that point?
Yeah, Jimmie had mentioned that he had gotten hit in the left front fender. I think he actually got into Matt. So over the course of that run, it was a short run, thankfully, only about 10 laps. We were able to get a good look at the left front fender, realize what it was that we needed to do. We made a solid plan for the next pit stop, addressed the left front fender, and shoot, obviously the car was super fast after that once again. So just couldn't be prouder of everybody at Hendrick Motorsports and Lowe's and everybody at Chevrolet and Jimmie and the whole team.
You know, when you talk to, regardless of the sport, when you talk to people who have won multiple championships, obviously the question comes in, how is this one different from any of the previous ones that you've won? How is it different?
Each one is so unique in itself. You know, battling with Matt, he's such a great guy. I really like Matt. He's a great race car driver. He's a great dude. How about these fans, man, huh? These guys are going nuts, man. They love it. This is good stuff. I like it. But it's different into itself because it was such a tight battle. Matt has been strong all year long, and you know we had to be on our game every single event, just like those guys were. So it was a lot of fun. It was a true challenge to win this championship this year.
Yeah, that party down in Homestead is going to continue well into the night. You can guarantee that, Chad. What is it? I'll ask you one final question. What is it that prevents complacency from setting in the off season as you guys continue to pile up these championships?
Well, that's one thing that I'm very fortunate with the group of guys that we've got. We don't get complacent. We strive for race wins. We strive to battle for championships week in and week out. They're really a very self-motivating group, so I don't have to do a whole lot to coach these guys up. They're really ready to go out there and try to win races for everybody at Hendrick Motorsports and Lowe's. So this offseason is going to be good. We're going to celebrate. We're going to enjoy this championship. The thing that we have always talked about is you have to take each win sacred. You have to take each championship sacred because you don't know when your next one's going to be. So we're going to definitely celebrate like this is our last and hopefully go get another next year.
All right, Chad, I'll let you go celebrate right now. Thanks for joining us.
You bet, man. How about these fans, huh? Hey! That's what it's all about, man, the fans.
Well, Ricky, it is a team sport. I mean, JJ drives the car, but Chad Knaus, puts it all together. When you talk about the great combinations of crew chiefs and drivers, whether it's Inman and Petty, whether it's Evernham and Jeff Gordon, I mean, where does this duo stand?
Well, it's certainly in the same conversation, right, Chris? So when you think about 6 championships and you compare that to other drivers, Richard Petty, Dale Earnhardt, arguably the 2 greatest in our sport, and neither of those 2 drivers could have done it without great leadership from the pit box, and that's what Jimmie Johnson has had. Now, what I am most impressed by is the fact that the 2 of these, the driver, crew chief, personalities, have coexisted, complemented one another, not allowed either's ego to interfere with the objective, which is to win races, win championships. And there's something special about Chad Knaus, and he knows how to get the most out of Jimmie, and it's worth its weight in gold.
And the other thing I think, too, that is worth noting is that it's so rare in the sport because crew chiefs and drivers change all the time, don't they?
Well, they do normally out of necessity, and there's an equal amount of risk when teams have a great deal of success, because what we don't see and what the fans aren't privileged to understand or acknowledge is that behind the scenes, team owners are offering Chad Knaus a great offer. Probably not Jimmie. I'm sure Jimmie's locked up. But every driver wants that magical crew chief, the one that can solve all their problems. The fact is, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It's a myth. You know, there's no one person that can simplify the business or the sport. It's about combining 2 personalities that complement one another, but most importantly, get more out of one another than they realized they had. And that's what we've seen from Chad and Jimmie. They haven't spoiled it. And as long as they stay together, it could be monumental. Not that it hasn't been already, but, it could be record-breaking.
Yeah, they're getting close to it right now. When we come back here on NASCAR Now, the post-championship edition, we're going to try and put it all in perspective. 6 titles, what it all means in the big picture, not only in NASCAR racing, but in sports in general.
As a Grand Prix world champion in triathletes, I know how important it is to stretch before any competition.
I also know it's important to stretch. Mobil 1's advanced technology lubricates our engines.
Yes, that is true.
And my joints.
Oh my word.
Soda cookies. Want one, Jensen?
Friday night, buddy, you are gonna need a wingman. And my cash back keeps the party going.
But my airline miles take it worldwide.
It shouldn't be this hard. With creditcards.com, it's easy to search hundreds of cards and apply online. Creditcards.com.
That heart pounding in your chest is a wonderful, wonderful thing. There's power in the crunch of almonds. Crunch on.
And all the animals came out to play. I'm Lion, the king of the jungle.
He's so cute. Isn't he, Papa? Papa?
We all have a Disney side. And the best place to show it is Disney Parks. So come to the place where the entire family can laugh, let loose, and play together. Disney Parks. Come on, show your Disney side.
People go to a mattress store and essentially they just get sold something.
We provide the exact individualization that your body needs.
Before you invest in a mattress, discover the bed clinically proven to improve sleep quality. The Sleep Number bed.
Once you experience it, there's no going back.
Final days for our lowest price ever on C4 Queen mattress sets, just $12.99. Plus special financing until 2015. Only at one of our 425 Sleep Number stores nationwide. Sleep Number. Comfort individualized.
Fans are not born, they're made, forged from happiness and horrors. Their loyalty and belief grows as does their effort and intensity, until their fandom becomes who they really are. A fan worthy of the Fan Hall of Fame. Are you worthy? Apply now. FanHallOfFame.com.
Well, you know, it never gets old for Jimmie Johnson and the 48 crew, celebrating a championship for the 6th time in 8 seasons. How does it stack up against the other great runs in racing history? How about the other great runs in sports history, period?
What is the significance of 6? Is 6 the number that finally transforms the already great into a living legend? 6 banners in the rafters, 6 trophies in the cabinet, 6 rings on your fingers. The one that puts you well past one for the thumb and moves on to a whole other hand. 6, like Kuzi, like Kareem, like Mike. 1, that might be a fluke. Repeat? 3-peat? That could have merely been a hot streak. 4 and 5, winners for sure, but 6 is damn near immortal. A number reached by only 2 racers before. One a NASCAR king, the other a NASCAR god. For them, 6 was not the end, nor will it be now. For any truly great athlete, 6 is merely a stopover, a step on the climb to something bigger. How big? Who knows? That number, it only makes them hungrier. And that might just be the true significance of 6.
No mystery here. Jimmie Johnson has dominated NASCAR since his rookie year of 2002. He has 66 wins during that stretch, 30 more than any other driver. He's also led more than 5,000 more laps than any other driver during that time. And perhaps most impressively, he's won half of the championships that they've raced in those 12 years. Marty Smith sat down with the now 6-time champ.
And here he comes, champion for the 6th time.
Yes, yes, yes! Thank you, guys. What a race team. You guys are amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
What's going through your mind right now?
Just soaking it in. I mean, I've worked so hard to push it out of my mind, the possibility of a 6. And just tried to focus on the race and treat it like any other, that it's working its way in, and seeing friends, my family clearly. My wife just about got me to cry on national television, which is not normally my thing. But those moments kind of pull it in. Watching my daughter run around and have these ring hats that everybody's wearing. She put a ring hat on. It's awesome. The sport's about people, just like any sport. And we have the tools that all the other big race teams have, and really the whole field, and everybody puts in the time and the hours. But what we can do as a team and as a group is pretty special. And I value that ability we have and the bond that we have more than I could ever describe.
But how do you describe this moment for you, being a kid that grew up in a trailer park, and now you are a 6-time champion at the pinnacle of motorsport? Think about that. Describe what that is to you.
I don't know, to be honest. I mean, it's humbling, truthfully. I mean, I think I'd want to break dance or something, but I just want to sit back and
man, there's a whole floor.
We'll leave that up to Gordon. He's better at break dancing, but I just want to sit and be. I mean, it is, and enjoy it with my close friends and family, and just soak it in.
Define 6.
6 awesome years, and I think of 6 out of 12. Won half the championships I've competed for. That's staggering. I feel like I'm watching a movie.
Your peers are very open at this point about calling you great. You have always said you enjoy being a part of the greatest ever discussion. What makes you great?
I think it's desire and honestly evaluating myself and coming to grips with things that I don't do well. I'm my toughest critic. And I don't necessarily say a lot, but I spend a lot of time thinking about things and how to be better at my craft and what I do. And
And it's not work, and it's not anything that I've got to pump myself up to do, to internally, you know, dig deep and look at myself internally and figure out how to be better the next year. It's something I enjoy to do. There's just something about competing and being in that space and pushing myself to be better.
Throughout this year, many of your peers have discussed your greatness. It is very rare in this arena for one driver to be especially complimentary of another one. How does it feel for you, for your peers, to speak of you in that way?
Man, it warms me to my soul. I mean, I put and people in this garage area know me, and they know how hard I work, and I put it out there each and every week. And to have a nod of the cap from them and the respect from my peers and people in this industry means the world to me.
I was speaking with Dale Earnhardt Jr. after the race, and he told me it won't surprise me one bit if he wins 10 championships. And when he does, and you come back to me and say, how surprised are you, I'm going to remind you of this conversation. He expects you to win 10. Thoughts?
I feel like, you know, we've had championships get away, and I feel like we're going to have more opportunities down the road. So, you know, maybe we can get more than 6, but, you know, that's unfortunately the question I'm going to have to answer. You know, can you get 7? And then if we were ever able to do that, then 8, you know, it's just going to be an evolution that I can never stop or put an end to. But I'm just going to enjoy the now and focus on enjoying this off season, recharging my batteries, and come back next year and see what we can do from there.
You grew up watching Dale Earnhardt and Richard Petty set the bar. You're one away from Dale Earnhardt and Richard Petty. When that is stated to you, what do you think?
Goosebumps. I mean, the King, you know, and Dale. I mean, those are forever legends of our sport. Richard King stuck his head in the window today as I was buckling up and said, enjoy these moments, they're going to last forever. And he's so right, and that's what I'm trying to do right now, is just slow it down and soak it in and enjoy it. And I feel like very fortunate in our sport that we're able to still see the King walk through our garage area and be around. So wish Dale was here, and so regret the fact that I never have a chance to get a tire mark from him, or even wrecked for that matter. You know, I just won't have that opportunity. But to be in the same conversation with those guys, it brings a lot of pride to my heart.
If you could give me one word to describe this moment, what is it?
It's insane. It is. I mean, there are so many thoughts swirling, so much pride. It's insane.
Well, Ricky, where does he stand in relation to Dale Earnhardt, Cale Yarborough, Richard Petty, the greats?
Honestly, I think the fans need to determine that, Chris, and I think that's going to come in a few years. I think, you know, you look at Jimmie Johnson, he's in the 6th, 7th inning of his career. What Richard Petty did was remarkable. 200 wins, but it was in a different era. What Dale Earnhardt did was impressive. 7 wins. We'll never know if he had an 8th or 9th. His career in life was cut short. But it also was different. Dale Earnhardt was the intimidator, and he went about his business in his own fashion, like no one we've ever seen. And that's sort of what I take from Jimmie Johnson. He goes about his business differently than most drivers I've competed against. He wins a lot. He wins several championships, in fact, a half dozen, but seldom do they come at another driver's expense. Jimmie sizes up the competition. He evaluates the situation. He often does it at 200 miles an hour, and then he just drives on by, usually not making contact. I think that leaves has a stinging effect on the competition. I think it also has a similar effect on fans because it just seems too easy. And so it's a hard time right now to judge Jimmie Johnson. It'll be much easier 10 years from now, but it will be not about is he great, but is he the greatest of the great?
Where do you put him right now? I mean, even just now, without having to get to that 7 that Earnhardt has and that Petty has, but just where he stands now.
I raced against Dale Earnhardt. I raced one race against my hero, Richard Petty. They are the greatest. Jimmie Johnson's one title behind. And I'm going to be dominated next year, 2014, watching Jimmie Johnson try to do what I didn't think any driver in the modern era could do. Match those two. Any driver, anybody that's worth their salt, that's strapped on a NASCAR helmet, has to agree with the fact that winning 6 titles in this era is an enormous statement. But wait, it could be 7 or 8. And I think that's the most impressive aspect of this whole conversation. It's, you know, why judge a baseball team in the 6th inning?
Right. couldn't get here without Chad Knaus.
No.
Couldn't get here without the ownership as well. Rick Hendrick, what can you say about him? 11 championships overall as an owner. We're going to speak with him. He's going to have to hire some contractors to rebuild that trophy wing out there in Concord.
He can do that. He's a tremendous leader, and he's created a lot of talent.
Everything you do on the new Sprint network is important. Today, we honor Jenna's Facebook activity.
Stephanie has sent you a friend request.
You and Stephanie are now friends.
Hannah has sent you a friend request.
You and Hannah are now friends.
Greg has sent you a friend request.
In honor of all the important things you do on our network, Sprint brings you one up. Upgrade to a new phone every year and get unlimited talk, text, and data guaranteed for life. Now only $65 a month.
What's better than zero heartburn? Nothing, that's what. That's why I take Prilosec OTC each morning for my frequent heartburn. Because it gives me a big, fat, zero heartburn. Woo-hoo!
Prilosec OTC, the #1 doctor-recommended frequent heartburn medicine for 8 straight years.
You can't beat zero heartburn. And best of all, it means I can enjoy all the foods I love. Oh, zero heartburn is awesome. Just like zero cutlery.
Prilosec OTC, 1 pill each morning, 24 hours, zero heartburn.
For more than 60 years, Wrangler's been making jeans more comfortable. They feel good and wear strong. To me, Wrangler jeans are the most comfortable jeans you'll ever wear. And that's guaranteed.
Wrangler 5-star premium denim jeans are built with a U-shaped construction. They don't cut into you like jeans with a V pattern.
No matter what you're doing or where you're going, nothing beats Wrangler comfort. Wrangler, real comfortable jeans, guaranteed.
Gather round and get ready to get more. Because more is better. When good isn't good enough, more is great. And getting more is what it's all about with the new McDonald's Dollar Menu and More. More is the new Bacon McDouble with Applewood smoked bacon for only $2. It's favorites like the Tasty McChicken and more, still just $1. More is everything you want and then some. And that's the Dollar Menu and More. Dig in. There's something for everyone to love at McDonald's.
George makes his move on LeBron, blows right by him, and he's down!
We should be holding the trophy. I would love to be holding the finals MVP.
Indiana puts the best record in the East on the line. Then,
it's me and Dwight's team. We've both been to the finals, so we know what it takes.
Houston has the talent to contend. Can they make the chemistry click?
We want to win. It starts and finishes with me and him.
The NBA on ESPN. Pacers Knicks at 7 Eastern. Rockets Mavs at 9:30. Presented by State Farm. Wednesday.
Moving is a challenge all its own. Organizing, packing, moving, unpacking. Bright House Networks can help make it easier. With Bright Moves, you can easily transfer your Bright House Networks TV, high-speed internet, and home phone services. So you can focus on making your new house a home. Plus, you'll receive up to $100 in certificates you can use towards future Bright House payments. Make your move easier at brighthouse.com/brightmoves.
The phone books and airwaves are full of law firms saying that you should call them because they're for the people or whatever, or that you should call 1-800-ASK-SOMEBODY who's not even a lawyer. I'm Kent Lilly with Lilly O'Toole & Brown, and I'm not here to tell you how much I know or how good we are, because I know that folks around here don't really care how much you know unless they know how much you care. Lilly O'Toole & Brown, with offices in Lakeland, Bartow, Winter Haven, Haines City, and Lake Wales.
You're watching NASCAR Now, presented by 5 Hour Energy.
Hendrick Motorsports was already the first team in Cup Series history to win 10 series titles, and you can add an 11th to that now. Hendrick has won titles with 3 different drivers, Johnson, Jeff Gordon, and Terry Labonte. No other active team has won more than 6 titles. Owner of the 48 team, Rick Hendrick, joins us right now. And Rick, congratulations on your 11th championship as an owner. I know you've been around the sport for a minute. How does this team stack up right now when you look at all the great teams throughout the history of NASCAR? How do they stack up with some of the all-time greats?
Well, you know, I'll take a clip from Parcells that said, you are what your record says you are. And these guys have been unbelievable. You look at their stats and how they've accomplished this in the modern era when the competition's been extremely tough. But I'm really proud of them, and I think history's going to say that they're 2 of the best that's ever been.
When you put the two of them together, and I'm talking about Chad and Jimmie way back in the day, what was it? What did you see in those two that made you think these two are going to have a lot of success together?
I wish I had told you we knew something there, but we knew Chad had been in the organization and he was ready to take on a challenge. And I remember when Lowe's had a meeting with us and said, "Can you win?" And Jimmie said, "Yeah, I can win." And we never dreamed that the combination would be this good. You just never know. It's kind of like Ray and Jeff, and now Stevie and and Dale and Kenny and Casey. I mean, it's a heck of a ride, and I hope it's not over.
Yeah, when you talk about these two in particular, Chad and Jimmie, how have they transformed the sport? In addition to just winning all of these championships, how have they changed the way the sport is run?
I'm sorry I couldn't hear you so loud here.
I know it's
repeat
loud.
Repeat that for me.
When you talk about the modern era of the sport and Jimmie and Chad together, in addition to just winning championships, how have they changed the sport throughout the years since they've been together?
Well, if you look at what they do and the way they prepare, you see other teams doing the same thing. They do the debriefing with the other teams, and all of the things that Chad tries on the car or anything he does, they watch him. And, it feels good to know that all the other teams are looking at you, but these guys keep raising the bar. They never settle with where they are. They're always wanting to be a little bit better. This past week, when we're getting ready for this, we're talking about how to get better for next year, this week. So I want to, celebrate this one a little bit before we start working on next year.
Well, I'll ask you one more question about next year. Another one of the drivers in your stable, Dale Jr., said after tonight's race that he thinks he's on the verge of being able to win a championship. What do you think about that statement heading into 2014?
Absolutely. If you look at the way Junior has run through this chase, you take away that engine we lost in the first race, he would have been there battling with Jimmie tonight. And I'm so proud of Dale and Stevie. They've done an awesome job. And I can't wait to see him get started again next year. So we're real excited about Junior.
Rick, again, congratulations on win number 6 with the 48, win number 11 overall. Enjoy it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ricky, I want to get your thoughts on the last comments there about the 88. Had that problem in Chicagoland, but had a great chase. Finished 5th in the chase, finished 3rd today. What do you make of his chances looking at 2014?
There's a lot of value in end of the season with some momentum, and that's exactly what Dale Earnhardt Jr. has. He came close to winning. Other than Jimmie Johnson, he laid down a great points performance in the last 8 races, and one that was worthy of a title if it were an 8-race chase. But I think that the team has continued to grow through the leadership of Steve Letarte, and I expect the team will be better next year. And that's saying quite a bit when you consider where they were this year.
Yeah, and how they finished up. The fan base was certainly happy to hear you and Rick Hendrick talking that way about the 88. All right, when we come back, still a whole lot more to get to. A look back at some of the more memorable moments during this chase, and there were a bunch of them. And one of the all-timers and one of the more popular drivers in the garage, and with fans as well, calling it a day Sunday in South Florida. We'll take a look back at Mark Martin's career next.
We're going to add a 13th position for the championship.
Charlie Daniels, Carolina. The devil went down to Georgia. Nothing could be finer. Midnight Rider on Brothers Bay.
This is more than a dream come true.
I got your country right here.
Matt Kenseth opens the chase in 2013, going 2 for 2.
Jimmie Johnson dominates the Monster Mile.
We're focused on the top 3 right now in points, but the guys 4th on back, they still have hope. I mean, anything can happen in the sport.
I got your country right here. Little bit rockin'. I got your country right here. Deep fried Southern. I got your country right. Grab a beer, pull up a chair. 'Cause I got your country right here.
You're
don't know what's going to happen.
You just got to go race and cross your fingers and go for it.
This is really a place where anybody can win.
Hang on, everybody. This is short track excitement, NASCAR style.
I work hard, I play harder. I'm a good time in American daughter. Redneck, blue collar, and I fought it down to my last dollar. I work hard, I work hard, I work hard. I play harder.
The second to last race in one of these championship fights.
This 20 car looks worse today than I've seen it look in a long, long time.
Jimmie Johnson will take a 28-point lead.
We kind of don't have much to lose.
We got to go to Homestead and try to lead the most laps we can and try to win the race.
You want to have the points lead so that you control your own destiny, but it's the most stressful and pressure-packed situation you can ever ask for.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.